the poorest countries in Asia. Asia, the largest continent on the Earth, is home to well over half of the world's population. This land, with some of the top richest countries in the world, occupies about 8.7% of Earth's surface and 30% of the land area. Ironically, the top poorest countries on the Earth are also here in Asia. This video contains the list of the poorest countries in Asia according to the GDP per capita. Number 1. Afghanistan. It should be surprising that Afghanistan is the number 1 among the top poorest countries ranked according to the GDP per capita. The Afghans are very poor people with agricultural and livestock products as the main source of livelihood. But incessant bombings caused by domestic and international conflicts have continued to weaken the nation's economy. The political and military unrest has prevented people from engaging in activities that can boost the economy. They are plagued with food crisis, lack of clothing, shelter, and lack of healthcare. The country takes the topmost slot on the list of the poorest countries in Asia. Afghanistan's current GDP per capita is $619. Number 2. North Korea. North Korea, a country in the East Asia region, takes the second top slot among the poorest countries in Asia. The economy of this poor country depends on the industry, services, and agriculture. Despite the presence of the main industries such as clothing, chemicals, electricity, machinery, manufacturing, and mining among others, the average income in this one of the poorest nations is around $47 per month. North Korea's GDP per capita is $685. Number 3. Tajikistan. Tajikistan, the third poorest country in Asia, should have been with its colleagues in Europe as a splinter country of the Soviet Union. The spanner in the wheel of progress of this poor country was the war it was involved in shortly after its independence, which lasted from 1992 to 1997. Just as the nation was finding its political stability thereafter, and foreign aids were pouring in to develop the economy, a crisis snowballed into another war in 2012, which plunged the nation into a serious humanitarian and economic crisis and stopped further assistance. Tajikistan's GDP per capita currently sits at $801. Number 4. Syria. Syria is in the 4th position among the poorest countries in Asia. This country has constantly been in the news for bad reasons of political conflict between the government and the opposition. Even before this crisis destroyed Syria to this extent, some 30% of Syrians had been living on the meager income of €1 a day. The Syrian poverty situation is so bad that there is hyperinflation. Food prices continue to soar and energy sources become scanty. No foreign aid, not even Germans, could be sustained under the political unrest. Syria's current GDP per capita sits at $831. Number 5. Nepal. Occupying the 5th position among the poorest countries in Asia, Nepal is suffering from the effects of political instability that has continued from the royal period. The poor country is an amalgam of a group of isolated agrarian societies coming together during the mid-20th century. As of 1951, there were no hospitals, schools, good road networks, electricity, industries, telecommunications, and even civil services in Nepal. Even though it has been making very slow progress, it will take a while before the poor country, whose economy is dependent mainly on rice and wheat as the main crops, to be counted out of the poorest nations in Asia. Nepal's current GDP per capita sits at $849. Number 6. Yemen. Yemen, a country in the Arabian Peninsula, has also been held down by war. Conflicts between the Sunni-based government forces and Shiite-based Houthi forces have prevented Yemen from achieving any economic development. Yemen is the poorest Arab country in serious humanitarian crisis, which must be attended to immediately, according to the United Nations. Yemen's GDP per capita currently sits at $990. Number 7. Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is number 7 among the poorest countries in Asia. Almost 40% of residents in Kyrgyzstan are reported living below the poverty line. The UNDP has correctly predicted that the country's poverty rate would continue to grow. Agriculture is the mainstay of Kyrgyzstan's economy, which is producing cheap crops such as cotton, fruits, potatoes, sugar beets, tobacco, and wool in addition to beef and lamb. Kyrgyzstan's GDP per capita currently sits at $1,251. Number 8. Myanmar. Myanmar, a sovereign country in Southeast Asia, is richer than just 7 countries in the continent. The majority of Burmese are peasant farmers, and the agriculture and plantation sectors have contributed only a little to the economic growth. However, thanks to the open market economic policies, foreign investors from Western countries are active in oil and gas industries, forestry, and tourism. But with the lack of monetary or fiscal stability, which brings about distorted macroeconomic conditions and inflation, with fluctuating official exchange rate of kyat to dollar, Myanmar remains among the poorest countries in Europe. Myanmar's GDP per capita currently sits at $1,257. What are the poorest countries in Asia doing about their lot? Many will remain poor for as long as they entertain crises and war. They also must increase their industrial production and pay attention to the value chain so that the peculiar extractive industries can earn foreign exchange. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell.